July 31st, 2022, Strongsville, Ohio. In the quiet pre-dawn hours of a suburban street, a 17-year-old girl behind the wheel of her Toyota Camry floored it to 100 miles per hour and slammed head-on into a brick building. A mission of death, as the judge later called it. Her boyfriend Dominic Russo and their friend Davion Flanagan died instantly, but she survived. And what followed was a saga of toxic teen romance, denial, social media spectacle, family enabling, and a conviction. This is the story of Mackenzie Shirilla, Hell on Wheels. Hey y'all, I'm Chris Calvert.
And I'm her husband, Rob Potter. Welcome to Hitched to Homicide.
For better or worse.
Till death do us part.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome. And for our friends over there in Algeria.
Algeria.
Mm-hmm. I'm Reb C. Swen.
You know, we do get emails from people who are like, I love Rob. He did butcher my native language.
Well, that's how we know you're listening.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
That's why I'm doing it.
Well, wherever you're listening, be sure to subscribe to Hitched to Homicide, then like, rate, and review the podcast so other people who are just like you and love true crime can find us.
Yep.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button below. If you want true crime with us all the time, 24/7, please go join our closed Facebook group, The In-Laws and Outlaws. Go to Facebook, type in H2H, In-Laws and Outlaws, answer a couple questions. You are in. Those are our people.
Yes. But you have to answer the questions.
Please answer the questions.
Yes.
You can find us on Instagram at Hitched to Homicide or on X at H2H_podcast. And we also have a Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to send Rob some coffee.
Yeah.
He's drinking it right now.
Pete's coffee.
And you can also send us a text or a message, and the link to that is at the bottom of the show notes.
There you go.
Now, Rob, before we talk about this case, I want to start by saying this episode is for informational purposes only. It's based solely on publicly available court records, official documents, news reports, and verified sources. I'm approaching this case with deep respect for two young men, Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan, and their families who continue to live with an unimaginable loss. Our goal is, as always, awareness and thoughtful discussion of these events, but never to minimize the profound human tragedy that is involved. And I say all that because there is so much out there on this case right now. I'm going to talk about everything I researched up until the point that we are recording this, which is usually about 2 days before we release the podcast. But there seems to be something new every single day on this case. I have focused on the verified court records, victim impact statements, and facts over sensationalism, y'all. But at the moment, this case seems to be a moving target, and there's a lot going on with it.
Really?
Yes. I'm going to take a deep breath first, because if you know anything about this case, you know how frustrating it is. This case is all about permissive parenting, relationship volatility, intent versus accident, prison behavior, and even ongoing advocacy for these victims. There's a lot to unpack, so hang on to your panties.
I'm hanging on to my panties.
Before we get started, let me thank some sources, and these are just a few of them. The Ohio Supreme Court Opinions and Court Records, Netflix, A&E, Cleveland 19, WKYC, Fox 8 News 5, Cleveland, People, Magazine, Court TV. That's just to name a few. There are tons and tons and tons of sources. Some of this information has been verified completely. If there's something from Reddit or there's a conspiracy, I will tell you that first.
Okay. Well, you ready?
I am.
Let's get to it and do it.
Dominic Russo was born on September 24th, 2001 in Strongsville, Ohio, to parents Frank and Christine Russo. He grew up in a large, close-knit family as one of 7 siblings. Angelo, Christopher, Nicole, Christine, Michael, and Frank, which reminded me of my big fat Greek wedding.
Taki, Sophie, Kari, Nick, Nikki.
Where it's like Nickel, Nicholas, Nick, kind of like that. Family members described Dominic as kind, funny, caring. He had a passion for music, just like you, Rob. Yeah. And he had dreams of becoming a musician, just like you.
I still have dreams of becoming a musician.
He also had dreams of playing basketball, not like you.
Yeah. No, no. Enough said.
He also liked to trade stocks, and he was into crypto, and he was in the process of starting his own clothing line. Dominic was making some money. After high school, he lived in a house next door to his mother's house. So he had his own place, but it was owned by his mom, and it's right next door. Okay. So he saw especially his brother Angelo, who he was very close to all the time. And I say he's close to Angelo. Dom was close with all of his siblings. Again, this is a big Italian Catholic family. Lots of love in this family. His mom and dad, Frank and Christine, divorced at some point as Dom is growing up, but they were very committed co-parents, and both of them remained very involved with all of their children and in their grandchildren's lives. So even though it didn't work out for mom and dad, the kids never suffered because of it.
Gotcha.
As far as Dominic, he was, according to his family, the heart of a bustling household, the kind of brother who carried sunshine with him to family gatherings and poured love into being an uncle. He was very kind, he was very thoughtful, and he was a very loyal friend. He was tall with dark ringlets of hair. And when I say ringlets, I mean ringlets that seemed to always be in his face in his photos. I'm sure it was part of his personality, sort of his cool persona that he had with his buddies.
Yeah.
And one of Dom's buddies, speaking of, was a boy named Davion Flanagan. Davion was born on March 11th, 2003. He's the oldest of 3 siblings who entered foster care due to their biological parents' struggles with substance abuse. And Davion and his sisters had a rough start. They were neglected. They were put into situations where there was violence, and their parents were eventually incarcerated, which put them into the foster system, where they met foster parents Jamie and Scott Flanagan. And Jamie and Scott fell in love with all 3 of these children. And when Davion is 8, in 2011, Jamie and Scott officially and legally adopted Davion, Divine Isabella, and Dahlia Rose. Nice. So him and his 2 younger sisters. And these 3 children now had love and stability, and Davion was very open and thankful and spoke often of how this second chance really shaped his life. Davion was quite the athlete, and he excelled at football, and it was his number 1 passion. He was a standout running back. But 4 games into his senior year, he tore his ACL and his UCL, and any dreams he had of playing college ball or going on to the NFL were gone.
Yeah.
He had to have been really good. Cleveland is such a high school football town.
Yeah.
So if he's the starting running back that everybody knows and loves, it's just a tragedy that happened.
Yeah, well, Canton, which is right, southeast of Cleveland there, that's the home, that's the start where football all started.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now that he knew he wasn't going to college on a football scholarship, he started applying to barber schools. He wanted to be a barber and he wanted to open his own place. So he had lots of goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of his friends on the Mustangs football team is a guy named Landon Turner, better known as Bubba. Davion and Bubba are friends, and Bubba has a longtime girlfriend whose name is Rosie Graham. And Rosie is a high school girl who gains quite the following on TikTok and Instagram as a fitness model / I would say influencer. She has a summer body 30-day workout challenge. And my understanding is that it's a Pilates workout. But according to other online Pilates instructors, Rosie doesn't have a professional certification to teach Pilates. She doesn't provide adequate warm-ups. She opens with planks or bridges without providing instructions, breath cues, or cues for muscle engagement. And this is according to Wellness by Nora, who is a Stott Pilates instructor.
Yeah, my best friend from high school, Tommy, his daughter, she actually teaches Pilates.
That's right.
Yeah, she's certified.
It is not easy.
No.
Have you ever seen like the guys come into the Pilates studio and try to use the reformer and their legs are shaking?
Well,
It's all the hot guys with all the muscles, but they're
well,
having a little bit of trouble with the reformer.
he actually does an online class with her.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, Pilates, yoga, I give that 2 very high thumbs up.
There you go.
But no shade to Rosie. Her Instagram page is more modeling photos than anything. And her YouTube channel and her TikTok are more her workout or Rosie Graham 30-day challenge. And she started her online presence when she was 16. You got to give her props for that.
Yeah.
And she had about 200,000 followers.
Jeez.
Now today she has about 300,000 followers. But one of her followers back then was a girl named Mackenzie Shirilla. Mackenzie Shirilla was born on August 2nd, 2004 to Natalie and Steve Shirilla. She has a younger sister who just graduated from high school. There are all kinds of reports and sources that say that she has an older sister. But according to the people online who live in Strongsville, Ohio, there is another daughter and she is younger. Her name is Danielle. I don't believe Mackenzie treated her younger sister very well, but I don't think Mackenzie treated anybody very well.
Sounds like it was all about Mackenzie.
Oh, you have no idea. There are those who allegedly believe that Danielle is treated differently than her older sister, whom they consider the golden child. I read that on Reddit, so that's not like a real source, but there were a lot of people who were from that area, and that's what they had to say.
Got it.
Mackenzie grew up in Strongsville, Ohio, and attended local schools there. And by the time she's in middle school, she's already a disrespectful child. Now, I don't know why her parents babied her or put up with her behavior. There are lots of online theories. I think that they so desperately wanted to be her friend or for her to like them for some reason that they didn't really treat her like a child and they took on the parental role. But just for the record, you shouldn't be a friend to your child. You have to be a parent, and sometimes that means discipline, right? You got to be the bad guy.
Yep.
And I want to say that parenting is hard. You have this baby, you've never had one before, you've never had a toddler before as they grow up, you've never had a teenager before, and buddy, isn't that hard? You sort of learn as you go how to handle things. But if I can say anything after parenting solo and with Rob, the one word I have is boundaries. You have to have boundaries and you have to have consequences for crossing those boundaries.
Yeah.
Because society has rules, or at least it used to.
Yeah.
And my shrink once told me that my job as a parent was to raise a good citizen of the world.
There you go.
And children need to learn before they head out into the world that their actions have consequences Always. Everything has consequences, even the good stuff.
Yeah.
You study hard for a test and you know the material, that action has consequences of getting a better grade than you if you hadn't studied. You know, you go to work, and as an adult, if you don't show up or do the job you're being paid for, you'll get fired.
Right.
Those are actions, right?
Right.
And those have consequences.
Well, in our case, when we got married, the kids were 12 and 14, and, I had not had kids, and I literally was jumping in the deep end with
Yes, you
no cliff
were.
notes.
My favorite story. He picked up at dance class, whole group of girls, came home. He took my SUV, comes back and looks at me and he goes, I'll do the guys and football and lacrosse, all you want.
Yep.
But please don't put me in the car with all of those teenage girls again.
Yeah, you've heard of people talking about soldiers coming back from war, and they have the
He had
1,000
PTSD after.
and the 1,000-foot stare. That was me that night.
Yeah, they were loud, singing. There was lots of cheap perfume flying in the car.
The cacophony of laughing and screaming and music and
Young
perfume.
girls, man.
Yep, that was my introduction.
Well, and those girls were all in middle school at the time. And when Mackenzie is in middle school, in February of 2018, she's in trouble at school.
Yeah.
She's 14. The police are called to the Center Middle School because of a disturbance between Mackenzie and another 8th grade student. Because Mackenzie's already a bully. The police documented that both girls exchanged words, they shoved each other, they threw punches while walking to the school buses after class was over for the day. The officers tell both families that the school was going to handle their punishment and that the students should just stay away from each other. Girls, don't even look at each other. And I was going through a Reddit thread, and allegedly, I'm going to use that word a lot during this episode.
Okay.
Allegedly, she bullied a girl so much, she told her to end her life. She spread rumors online about this girl, and the girl ended up on a psych ward, and then she left the school district to finish school someplace way far away.
Wow.
Other Reddit posters who say they knew her from childhood said that she would tell her mother to shut the F up.
What?
And Natalie, her mother, wouldn't say a word back to her. She'd just bring in pizza to the girls, like in the next breath. She wanted Natalie's approval. She wanted to be Natalie's friend. It's like the movie Mean Girls.
There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Where the mom comes in, she was like, I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Wow.
And I think that was Natalie.
Wow.
In March of 2020, police and EMS responded to a suicide threat at the Shirilla home. Mackenzie, who was then 15, allegedly threatened to kill herself, and a psychiatric evaluation was requested. And the report noted, quote, a history of anxiety, end quote.
You would think that, the fact that she's bullying at school, getting into fights, and then she says she wants to kill herself, that any parent with half a brain would go, you know what, maybe we should get our child some help.
Well, I will tell you, these parents are catching a lot of heat right now.
I'm sure they are.
They're catching a lot of heat right now, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
All right.
But the responders documented that Mackenzie ultimately was not transported to the hospital because her parents reportedly did not believe the threats were real, and they didn't believe that she would harm herself. So who called the cops, Mackenzie or her parents?
Yeah.
And why, when they arrived, was the story so different? Hard to say.
Sure.
In October of 2018, at Strongsville High School, when Mackenzie is a freshman, another student reported that Mackenzie called her a, quote, bitch, end quote, threatening to beat her up, encouraging friends to intimidate the girl at her locker, and engaging in Instagram bullying.
You mean Instagram just isn't all rainbows and happy?
It's not. And, you know,
food photos and vacations?
that's the older people.
Oh, okay.
Kids can be so incredibly mean. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But Mackenzie denied the allegations and claimed that the other student had threatened her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Her classmates said she tried to be Regina George in Mean Girls. She was demanding, manipulative, and she enjoyed dominating over the other kids. These documentaries online and that you can watch that are streaming, they show some of the things she allegedly did to other kids. Quote, "This is the girl who told me to kill myself and go throw up over a toilet in high school," end quote. Another post was, quote, "She bullied both of my sisters through Instagram DMs," end quote. Yet another, quote, "She was so mean to my friends and I for no reason, bro," end quote. Even a teacher complained, quote, "I would like her removed from my room as I am no longer comfortable with being verbally attacked, called a f***ing bitch and a dumb bitch," end
Good
quote.
grief. Wow. And the parents still didn't do anything.
No.
Jeez.
I'm pretty and smart, and I get along with everyone, even ugly girls.
According to some of the girls who went to school with her, she wore outfits that were a little provocative. Booty shorts and sports bras or pants so low that you could see her thong. She has an entourage that follows her, just like in the movie Mean Girls. She's always posting on social media. She wanted to be Instagram famous, like her new friend, Rosie Graham. Now, Rosie's already an influencer, like I said, with over 200,000 followers, and that's what Mackenzie wanted. She wanted to collaborate with online companies who would send her merchandise, and she could wear it online as their model. Also in 2017-2018, Mackenzie meets a junior at Strongsville High School, Dominic Russo. I'm bringing it all back around again.
Wow.
She is a freshman. Again, he's a junior. And these two begin an on-again, off-again relationship that is going to be flat out toxic. But by the time Mackenzie is a senior, she's barely passing her classes. She's bullying other kids. And by December of 2021, she's moved in with Dominic in his house next to where his mother lives.
And she's a senior?
She is not even out of high school. She's 17.
What did her parents have to say about that?
They moved her in. They said she's old enough to know what she wants. So she's just barely making it through high school as well.
Wow. Okay.
Now, Mackenzie and Dom are both smoking a ton of weed. Half of Mackenzie's Snapchats are of her showing off her outfit and taking a hit off of a bong. By the way, her parents know she's doing this. Her mother is liking all of her social media posts.
Wow.
Mackenzie also posts with Rosie, and she's posting with Dom a lot. And these two are inseparable. And not because Dom necessarily wants it that way. I think it's because Mackenzie wants it this way. She's a control freak, and she wants him, or maybe I should say she requires him, to do whatever she says. In May of 2019, she's accused of shoplifting earrings at Kohl's. The police report stated that the earrings were never recovered, and Kohl's declined to prosecute because the earrings were worth less than $20. Shoplifting. Really? Shoplifting?
Wow.
There are videos of Dom cooking Mackenzie's meals, buying her clothes, smoking with her, doing TikTok trends with her. And meanwhile, her parents, Natalie and Steve, are kind of like, "You're old enough, go live with your boyfriend."
It's just, I can't even fathom that.
Now, there are sources that say she moved in with Dom after graduation, but according to the court records, she moved in with him in December of 2021 or January of 2022. She's not going to graduate until the summer of 2022.
Yeah, I don't even care if she graduated. I mean, if she's still at home, I can't even say anything.
So you can see why there's a lot of chit-chat online about this case, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
So in Mackenzie's eyes, she probably thinks she's got it all, right? She's got a hot boyfriend. She's living away from her parents, who, by the way, pay for her Toyota Camry and her car insurance. She's got a bit of a following online, and when you have an online presence, you do get haters. I'm here to tell you, I promise you, if you have an online presence, the haters come for you. It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
I had them before I ever started podcasting from publishing books. And anybody with an internet connection and a keyboard is going to tell you what they think of you.
Yeah.
And Kinsey has a lot of enemies. She shows off a lot. And Mackenzie gets as good as she gives. Actually, she probably gives more than she gets. During her high school career, she was suspended. She was insubordinate. I read she locked herself in a bathroom and had a fight at the Polaris Career Center. And speaking of suspension, Mackenzie gets suspended on the last day of school. And her dad, Steve, goes to pick her up. He looks at her and says, "Did you do it?" And she says, "No." And he said, "That's good enough for me." And he said, "Come on, let's leave."
Wow.
So he just says, "Come on, come with me." And that was the end of it. And her dad, Steve, actually tells this story. It's not Mackenzie who tells this story. He tells this story in a documentary. So her parents are really enabling her to her own detriment. And Mackenzie, like so many young people, she texts. She texts a lot. Kids don't pick up the phone and talk to people anymore. They'd rather text, which I do as well. But at some point, you have to actually speak to another human being,
Yeah.
especially in business when you get older. If you can't see them face to face, you need to talk to them because people take text messages in different ways. You need to be there to read cues from an actual human person speaking to you.
Yeah, there have been times when I've been texting someone and I got to a point where like, I don't have time to, so I just pick up the phone and call them.
Just do it the old school way.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick up the phone and call.
I remember when we had to use a phone to talk to people.
It was a rotary dial.
Yeah, we had a cord and everything.
We had to share the phone.
Yeah, we had a party line.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, I digress.
But she texts a lot, and there are approximately 93,000 texts between her and Dominic between January of 2020
Wait, how
and
many?
July of 2022. 93,000.
I don't think I've done 93,000 in my lifetime. Good Lord.
Now, as these two start to drift apart, they're not getting along so well. It shows up in these text messages.
Right.
I have a link to, believe it or not, all of them in a spreadsheet. If someone would like to read them, I will put that link in the show notes.
Just a little light reading.
Just a little light reading. It's a lot to sift through because you can tell she didn't go to school because she spells things wrong. She doesn't know there, and there, or your and your, things that make me crazy. They don't write out the word you, Y-O-U. They just use the letter U.
Yeah.
But Mackenzie is demanding in these texts. It's like her way or the highway. And that's even one of the texts that she sends to him. It's my way or the highway.
Man.
Now, at least one time while they are broken up, Dom gets with another girl, and Mackenzie will always call this cheating on her, even though they were broken up. But in these 93,000 texts between the two of them, I would say maybe half of them are the two of them fighting or her being mad about something. Maybe not exactly at him, but she complains a lot. She's a teenage girl. They complain. Nothing's ever right. And if you compound that with the fact that she's an enabled brat, it's a recipe for disaster.
Who was that comedian? She talked about her daughter and, she can't even breathe because the daughter would get mad.
Leanne Morgan.
Yeah, that's her.
She's from Tennessee, and she said that God makes them mean.
And he makes them just as mean as he can so that you can let them go.
Their last year so you can let go of them. That's what she was like. We couldn't even breathe in our own house. We couldn't eat cereal in our house because the sound of somebody eating cereal irritated her.
It just makes me laugh.
But she does say that she's a beautiful, wonderful young woman. And she was a beautiful, wonderful young woman then, I think.
Right.
But anybody who's had a teenage girl knows exactly what she's talking about, okay?
It's true.
But compound that by 93,000 times, okay?
Yeah.
Mackenzie graduates from Strongsville High School in June of 2022, and by July of 2022, things with Dominic aren't going well. According to Dom's brother Angelo, who, again, he's really tight with, Dominic wants to break up with Mackenzie. He's tired of her antics. He's even called Natalie and Steve Shirilla to say, come pick up your daughter and get her stuff, because she was refusing to leave his home. I read in one source that he was thinking about a career in the military. So was he trying to get as far away from her as possible?
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you want to get away from someone, so you're going to join the army.
But, I mean, he was working on this clothing line, so right. Who knows if that source is completely credible, because there's so much stuff out there on this case. I'm trying to stick with what I know are actual facts.
Yeah, and by the way, let me say something. I love the military. I respect the military. I know military history. So what I just said wasn't a slam on joining the Army.
Of course not. But your dad was in the Navy and mine was in the Air Force.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
But we do have a very good friend, Dave.
Yep.
He was a colonel in the Army.
Colonel Dave.
Now, on July 17th, 2022, while driving on I-71 with Dominic as her passenger, by the way, Mackenzie never wears a seatbelt when she's driving. Apparently, Dominic doesn't either. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
How do you click it behind you, maybe?
I'm sure they have it. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to have it rigged somehow. I can't even make it down my driveway without mine screaming at me.
Bang, 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 bang. Okay.
But on this day, Mackenzie and Dom are fighting, and he is telling her that he wants to break up with her. It's over. And she starts driving erratically on I-71, and Dom is super scared. So who does Dominic call? When you're a kid, well, even when you're 20, he's 20. Who do you call?
You call your mom.
You call your mom, and that's exactly what he did. He called his mother.
Yeah.
And his mother wasn't feeling well because she had just gotten out of the hospital. And he tells his mom, I don't want to be around her, meaning Mackenzie, anymore.
Right.
I'm done. And his mother, Christine, is worried for him. So she sent her friend, 42-year-old Christopher Martin, whose nickname is Hinch, short for henchman.
Oh, well, I actually have a friend called
Hinchy.
Yeah, his last name's Hinchy, and we call him Hinch. That's funny.
So Hinch is a friend of the family, and he was at Christine's house that day. I get the feeling that maybe Hinch is maybe a boyfriend. I could be totally wrong about that.
Yeah.
But Dom's mother sends Hinch to rescue Dominic. And I only say that I thought maybe it was a boyfriend because in a police interview, he says that he tries to be a role model and be there for Christine's kids. So that seems more like that type of role. But they could have just been besties. Who knows?
Yeah.
So Hinch gets on the highway and he calls Dominic and says, where are you? And he can hear in the background Mackenzie screaming and fussing and saying, quote, I'll crash this car right now, end quote.
Wow.
And Hinch says, you guys just pull over and stop. I'll be there in 2 seconds. And it's raining outside, and he pulls up to Mackenzie's Camry, which is on the shoulder of the highway, and Mackenzie is in the car swinging at Dominic. She's trying to hit him. She's screaming at him. And as Hinch starts to get out of the car to sort of extract Dominic from the situation, Dominic gets out of her car and into the car with him. And Hinch looks at him and says, you know, you don't have to live like this.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with this. If you're not happy, you should leave.
Yeah.
And Dominic says she won't listen. She drives like a maniac. I can't take it anymore. And according to Hinch, Dominic told him she wanted him to come with her to, quote, chill with some of her friends, end quote. And he didn't want to go because he didn't necessarily like these friends. Now, 20 minutes after Dom and Hinch get back to the house, Steve Shirilla, Mackenzie's dad, shows up at Dominic's place saying he wants Kenzie's stuff. And Dom says, yeah, I'll give you her stuff and she can bring my stuff back over here.
Yeah.
And he went in and he got some purses and he gave them to her dad. And according to Hinch, when Dominic and Mackenzie would fight, he would tell her to get her stuff and go. I mean, she's living with him. It's his house. So they're having a fight, he's like, pack up your panties and get out.
Get the fuck out!
Yeah.
But then
It's like Eddie Murphy in Trading Places.
It's just like Eddie Murphy and Trading Places. But then 2 days later, after this situation on I-71, 2 days later, on July 19th, these two get back together again.
Wow. Dom, what's wrong with you, bro?
Yeah. And I think everybody is thinking this as well.
Yeah.
Then sometime after this, between July 19th and July 30th, I'm going to take a guess and say it was around July 27th. That's my guess.
Okay.
Dominic and Mackenzie are fighting again, and he has locked her out of the house. And Dom had a friend in the house with him, and he used this friend's phone. He used his friend's phone, turned it on video record, and he's recording this conversation. He has his own phone on speaker, and his buddy is using his phone to record all this on video.
Right.
And the conversation he's having with Mackenzie, who's outside, is pretty incredible. She's screaming at Dom to let her in.
You lied. You lied and said you would never lock me out of the house again. That is why we got back together last time we broke up.
Mackenzie, you broke up with me earlier.
Because you are a little weak.
You broke up with me earlier. You literally broke up with me earlier.
This is your last chance to open the door, or you are not coming out of this house all night, because I will not leave.
Like, why would I just let you in my house if you break up with me and you're threatening to break my
No.
Like, you're threatening to key my car, threatening to break
I will
the doors.
key your car
like,
if you do not let me in the house.
You're gonna key my car if I don't let
If you don't let me in the house, yes. You're gonna come open this door right now, or there's gonna be a serious problem.
I can't. No, like you can't keep making all these threats. Like I can't
And
open
you
the door.
can't kick. I'm gonna break into your house then. Do I have to call the police? Are you not gonna let me into my house?
This is not your house.
And he says back to her, quote, I can't let you in my house with how you are acting. Like it's as simple as that, end quote. There were a lot more curse words in that. I left a bunch of them out. But she threatened to break into the house. She threatened to key his car. And this whole recording is available to listen to. I will put a link for this as well in the show notes. But somehow she weasels her way back into Dominic's house and his life.
Jeez.
So Mackenzie and Dom are back together. Rosie and Bubba are still a couple. And Davion is part of this crew as well, being friends with both Dom and Bubba, who he played football with.
Right.
Now, there are people online who have said, and I'm going to use the word allegedly again, because other than online gossip, I couldn't find a single piece of information. But there are no court records, police records, or news articles, or official documents that indicate that Dominic Russo was ever arrested or charged with drug dealing or any serial drug-related crime.
Okay.
He had no known criminal record. But there are those who allege that he did deal drugs. Allegedly.
Okay.
Then on July 28th, 2022, Mackenzie's phone pings a cell tower in the area of Progress and Alameda. This is an intersection. Progress dead ends and tees into this road, Alameda. And apparently this is like a cut through that people sometimes use. But it's part of an industrial park, kind of. Alameda is like an industrial street. Lots of businesses.
Right.
2 days later, on July 30th, 2022, Mackenzie, Dom, and Davion Flanagan go to a graduation party together, and Kenzie is driving. The party is hosted by a girl named Kelly, and they arrive around 10:15 p.m. that night, and with them they have a bottle of tequila and a weed pen. They stay there for only 25 to 30 minutes because Mackenzie thinks it's boring. Now, Kelly will later say she did not see the three of them drink or use drugs while they were there at her house.
Okay.
Then they go back to Dominic's house and they decide they're going to go over to Paul Burlinghouse's home. But before they do, Mackenzie texts her best friend Rosie, who's already there, and asks, quote, "Is it okay to trip there?" End quote. Kenzie isn't just into weed. She also does psilocybin, mushrooms. And she's asking if it's okay if they do them there. Can we trip there? And Rosie tells her, yes, of course.
Well, there's a good idea.
Well, Mackenzie's two besties, Rosie and Nina, are both there, as is Rosie's boyfriend, Bubba. And according to Rosie Graham's interview in the Netflix documentary, The Crash, this wasn't a party. It was a sleepover. It was something that they would do a lot. And they were just sort of hanging out together. They were watching YouTube videos. And Bubba, Davion, and Dominic were all watching a shark documentary. This is according to her.
Okay.
They were, quote, smacking the bong, end quote, having deep conversations. Again, this is according to the Netflix documentary.
Right.
Kenzie and Dom were going to do mushrooms, but it was so late, so they just smoked weed. And Kenzie didn't smoke. She was on a smoke break because she'd been coughing up black mucus.
Ooh.
She's 17.
Good Lord.
But if you watch enough of her Snapchats and videos, you can see why she was coughing up black stuff. But while they're at Paul Burlinghouse's home, Mackenzie falls asleep on the couch. Paul will later say that he went to bed at midnight, there were no drugs in the house, and when he woke up around 3 or 4 in the morning, Davion was in the kitchen, and he didn't even see Dominic. So I thought it was pretty funny because the kid whose house they're at, he's like, I went to bed at midnight, there were no drugs. And Rosie's like, yeah, they were hitting the bong.
Jeez.
So nobody cares, Paul. It's fine.
Yeah.
According to Rosie, everyone had plans for the next day. There were no arguments. There was no, quote, bad vibe. At 2:53 a.m., Dominic Russo texts his father, quote, I love you, Dad, end quote. At 5 a.m., Dom comes into the kitchen and Rosie asks if they're leaving. Bubba and Davion were supposed to get together the next morning to work on Bubba's truck, and Bubba offered to take him home with him. And that was the plan until the very last second when Davion changed his mind and decided to go with Mackenzie and Dominic, saying he wanted to go home and take a shower and maybe sleep a little bit. So these three get into Mackenzie's 2018 black Toyota Camry. She's driving. Dom is in the passenger seat and Davion is in the back seat. It's 5:30 in the morning, so it's now July 31st. Now, what happens in the next 2 minutes, we may never know. The Camry begins moving westbound from Brushwood Lane in Strongsville. At 5:33, the car turns southbound onto Pearl Road. 1 minute later, at 5:34, Mackenzie puts on her blinker at the intersection of Progress Drive and Pearl Road. She's turning onto Progress, which dead ends into Alameda and an industrial office building.
So to me, it sounds like she knows exactly where she's going.
I think so, because she's been there 3 days beforehand.
Right. Yeah.
And she turns on her blinker. And again, like I said, it's sort of a cut through. Mm-hmm. But she turns on her blinker, she turns on Progress, and then her car speeds up. There is CCTV footage. The car reaches 90 miles an hour.
Jeez.
At 5:34. It is whizzing down Progress Drive like a rocket. At 5:36, the car veers right off of Progress, going over 90 miles per hour, crosses through grass, and straight through the intersection of Alameda and Progress Drive is a dead end into the Plidco building. She jumps the curb, crashes through the Plidco business sign, and crashes the car into the corner of the building. Her speedometer is frozen at 72 miles per hour. And the damage nearly severs the car in half.
Wow.
all of the airbags deploy. Now, for the next 24 minutes, these 3 kids are lying inside this crumpled and crashed car. The only person wearing a seatbelt that morning was Mackenzie.
Really? And she never wore one before?
No. Because you can watch all of her videos where she's driving and smoking weed at the same time. No seatbelt. At 6:15 a.m., a 911 call comes in. It's a guy on his motorcycle.
There's a car that's smashed up against the building. I didn't go up to it because I was on my motorcycle. I didn't know if I'd get stuck, but they ran the curb. I can see they smashed the sign and hit the building. The car's crashed.
He sees the car and he stops and he calls 911, he calls the police, but he doesn't approach the car. Probably because he doesn't think anybody could ever be alive inside it.
Yeah.
And 34 seconds later, Officer Zielinski and Galassi arrive on the scene. 34 seconds later. They must have really been close.
Oh my God. I'm 3, guys. Radio 3 occupants. No one's conscious. No one's breathing.
Yeah.
They immediately call for backup. In what's left of this Camry, they find the 3 occupants. In the front seat passenger side, Davion Flanagan has been thrown forward and is basically lying on top of Dominic Russo. Dominic has severe head and facial trauma, and Dominic is dead. They believe Davion is dead as well, but then they detect a faint pulse. Neither of these 2 boys were wearing a seatbelt. Now, in the driver's side, still buckled in, is Mackenzie. She's alive and trapped under the passenger dashboard, which has collapsed. She's mumbling. She has a broken right leg, broken right arm, damaged carotid arteries in her neck from it snapping so hard, broken ribs, and a lacerated kidney and liver. Now, rescue and medical are on the scene, and the Strongsville Fire Department has to use the jaws of life and tools to get the kids out. They call for 2 Lifeline helicopters, one for Mackenzie and one for Davion, who is taken out first. He actually dies at the scene, and the Lifeline helicopter is canceled.
Wow.
Mackenzie is freed from the car, and she briefly speaks. She mentions the name Jacob, don't know what that is, and asks about Davion. Dominic Russo is confirmed dead on the scene, and the Lifeline helicopter lands nearby, and Mackenzie is taken to Metro Health Hospital. Then the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office is contacted just before 7 a.m., and he takes custody of both Davion and Dominic's bodies. Now, the hospital calls Mackenzie's parents. There's a famous video where the officer is telling them what happened. They only know she was heading into surgery after an accident. It's the video where Natalie Shirilla keeps saying, "Dom's dead, Dom's dead."
Your daughter's okay. She's talking to us. I talked to her, okay? Your daughter's alive, okay? Your daughter's alive. She was driving the vehicle, okay?
Dom is dead? Dom is dead? Is that what you're saying to me? Look at me. Is that Dom is dead?
And the officer does tell the Shirillas that Mackenzie was driving, but that is a very famous video. I'm sure tons of people have seen it. The Flanagans, Davion's parents, are out of town, so they get a phone call. And I've seen an interview with Davion's dad. It is heartbreaking. He had to tell his wife and daughters that their son and brother was gone.
Wow.
Meanwhile, back at the scene, police collect evidence from the car crash, 8.1 grams of psilocybin mushrooms. They find those concealed in a baggie inside Mackenzie's shirt. They also find a digital scale, 2 cell phones, a bong, weed, a purse, and key fob are also found in the car. It's all seized. Then Mackenzie goes off into surgery, and the police have to go tell Dominic's family that he was in a car accident and didn't make it.
Wow.
That night, as all the kids that they went to school with are out out and finding out about Davion and Dominic's deaths, I did see where people were saying there were tons of people who just thought that Mackenzie was dead too. But Davion's friends come forward that night. There was a group of them that had Life 360 on their cell phones, and they could see where each other was, or where they were, each of them, all the time.
Right.
David Proctor was one of those kids, and his mother contacts the police and provides screenshots from the Life 360 app, which showed Mackenzie's car's final movements. David could see from the Life 360 that the car was traveling over 90 miles per hour right before the crash.
Wow.
David's mother also sent screenshots of Mackenzie's drug use and her Instagram. So it's 9:41 p.m., not even 12 hours after the crash, and people are already coming out of the woodwork to say, look it, this isn't right.
Yeah.
The next day, the police show up at Mackenzie's bedside to get an interview from her. And when they do, she and her mother speak to each other in what's called Carney.
Can I say something to her?
Yes.
It's like a pig Latin. It originated in the mid to late 19th century United States within traveling circuses and carnivals and sideshows. And workers developed this secret language as a way to communicate with one another in code without the paying customer, who was referred to as a mark or a sucker, understanding what they were saying. And honestly, I'm going to show my age here, but if you know the song Double Dutch Bus by Frankie Smith, it was released in 1981. But there's a whole section where he sort of has a back and forth with the girls, and it's like, his A, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That is what Carney sounds like. At least to me.
Okay.
I've got some audio of it. I will post a link to it in the In-Laws and Outlaws.
All right.
And basically what Kenzie is asking her mother in Carney is, can we just tell them I had a seizure and they can take my license for like 10 years? And the police ask her to tell them about the night and early the next morning. And she tells the police that she remembers turning onto Progress Drive. She's seen on this CCTV making that right-hand turn, and she even again uses her turning signal. And after that, according to Mackenzie, she blacks out. She doesn't remember anything.
How convenient.
Eventually, she's going to say she blacked out because she suffers from POTS, or postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Hang on to that little tidbit because we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
All right.
But the more the police learn about Mackenzie, the more they realize they don't know about Mackenzie. They ask her parents for the code to her phone, which Natalie and Steve give to them. They've recovered her phone from the crash site, and her phone is just chock-a-block full of information for the police. But as soon as Mackenzie is able, she's on social media, posting from her bed. She's sending texts to Dom's family members, telling them how heartbroken she is and that it was all an accident. She also texts Angelo, Dom's brother, and asks if he will go to Dom's room and get some photos of her and put them in Dom's casket so, quote, he can be with me forever, end quote.
Wow.
I don't think that happened. I don't know. Angelo knew Dom wanted to break up with her.
Yeah.
Angelo, I hope you didn't put those pictures in the casket.
I'm going to say he didn't.
Now, while she's in the hospital, she's doing dance videos, she's making social media posts, and is completely tone deaf to the fact that there are two families that are grieving because of her. While she's in the hospital, an online company reaches out to her, commenting on one of her photos on Instagram, asking if they can use it and tag her. And Natalie answers, her mother answers for Mackenzie first, saying, quote, Thank you for this amazing opportunity. Hello, this is her mother. She would love if you would use that. She's actually been trying to contact you guys for PR email, ! Then she goes on. It was a tragic accident, and she did not purposely mean to put an end to any of their close friends' life. This is just as painful as it is for her, as it is for everybody else, or maybe even a little bit more painful.
Oh, jeez.
End quote.
Oh, my God.
What the heck in heck, man?
Oh, man.
Now, they do run tox screens on Mackenzie, and they have to send out to check her system for the mushrooms because it's not something their lab actually tested for. Not all labs can test for it.
Right.
But there's going to be some controversy because Mackenzie's original blood sample draw immediately after the crash was allegedly, again, I'm using that word, canceled, forcing the investigators to obtain later redraws days after the incident.
Wow.
So what is that all about?
Yeah. That's like checking for any flu symptoms a year after you've gotten better.
I mean, THC is going to show up in her system, but no psilocybin, no mushrooms.
Yeah, it's just silly.
And I don't know. I'm very ignorant about psilocybin. I don't know how long that stays in your system. I mean, THC will stay in your system for weeks, right?
Right.
But police have seen all the videos of Kenzie smoking a huge blunt and driving at the same time. They know she's pretty experienced with this type of thing, so the THC in her system probably didn't have much to do with the crash. And at first they believed that maybe the accelerator pedal was stuck or there was some sort of malfunction of the car. But they bring in an expert, a man named Adam McQuaid, who's a sergeant with the Brooklyn Police Department and a member of the regional crash team that analyzes and reconstructs traffic crashes in that area. By the way, when I was at Writers Police School, we got to speak with a guy who would reconstruct car crashes and stuff.
Right.
And the thing he kept saying is, the bigger car always wins. And at the time, what was I driving, Rob?
You're a Cooper.
I had a Mini Cooper convertible.
Yeah.
And he's like, the bigger car wins. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Every Tahoe, every Ford F-150 would be the end of me.
Yeah, we don't have the Cooper anymore.
We don't have the Cooper anymore. We actually don't. Too many close calls. There were too many close calls.
And it was a convertible.
Well, the convertible part was fun.
Yeah, I know, but adding insult to injury.
But this guy is an expert in forensic data recorder analysis. So there's basically a black box in the computer in everybody's car, after a certain time, after a certain year.
Right.
And Adam McQuaid is this guy, and what he finds out is that the last 4.6 seconds before the crash, the accelerator pedal was fully depressed.
Jeez.
The engine throttle was at 100% until 1.6 seconds before the crash when the car went airborne when it hit the curb. Also, within 4.5 seconds of the start of the crash, the car registered a small right turn, then a small left turn, followed by a significant right-hand turn that caused the data recorder to note a rollover, even though the car did not roll over. And we know this because there's video footage of it all the way down the street and all the way into the building.
Wow.
So the car was traveling close to 100 miles per hour, and then there was a hard yank of the steering wheel, turning the wheel 142 degrees. At no point before the crash was the brake ever pressed.
So do you think that was Dom that was pulling the steering wheel from her?
There are people who believe that he was trying to get control of the steering wheel.
Yeah, makes sense.
Now, Mackenzie's trauma surgeon said that Mackenzie reported pain everywhere. She did report feeling depressed. She felt grief, guilt, and shame. She said she wanted to die and expressed that it was, quote, her fault for killing her boyfriend, end quote.
Okay.
And the police are starting to get a clearer picture of what happened that night between the stories from the friends and family and the incident where she said she would wreck this car. Police believe that Mackenzie was carrying out a murder-suicide. She wanted to kill Dominic, and it seems that Davion was just collateral damage.
Yeah.
He was nothing more than cargo to her. And perhaps that's why she asked about him and not Dominic. Now, they also see when they look at the GPS data on Mackenzie's phone that she had visited the exact area 3 days before the crash, which really kind of shows premeditation.
And the fact that she probably didn't have any reason to be in that area to begin with.
Well, it is sort of a cut through. You can cut through that area.
Okay.
But I don't think that they see her going that way on her GPS anything other than those 3 days beforehand.
Yeah. Okay.
8 days after the crash, Dominic Russo's family laid him to rest. Mackenzie took to social media while she was still in the hospital, saying, quote, "I miss you, Nug. I still feel like she spelled your wrong, just going to walk in the door at any second. I miss your laugh, your perfect smile. I feel your energy around me every day. I just wish it was physical. God, you are the last person to deserve this. You had such a perfect life ahead of you. I told you all this more.
Okay.
Please wait for me," end quote.
Yeah, whatever.
The medical examiner's report states that the cause of death is accidental, and Dom's sister, Christine, and his father are very sympathetic to Mackenzie for now. Davion's funeral, well, let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
The police aren't telling the Shirillas or the Flanagans or Dominic's family, the Russos, they're not telling them hardly anything. They're just saying, we're working on it, we're working on it, we're working on it.
Right.
Because I have seen an interview where like Davion's parents were like, it was kind of frustrating because we wanted to know what was going on and we wanted to know why. And the police were just calling them like once a week saying, we're working on it, we're working on it. And behind the scenes, they really were working on it.
Okay.
Davion's funeral is a week later after Dominic's. His family is certainly grieving, and they're taking it as hard as you might imagine.
Sure.
But they want to know what happened. Why did their son have to die in this crash? What was Mackenzie doing driving down the street at nearly 100 miles per hour? Now, as police dig into Mackenzie's online presence and her phone, they discover that she had a bitch list. It's like the burn book in Mean Girls.
This girl is the nastiest skank bitch.
And there were people who went to school with her who said she would burn your world down. They were afraid of her.
Wow.
But as Dom and Davion are being buried, Mackenzie is gaining followers. By August 22nd, Mackenzie's out of the hospital, and the first thing she does is go to a concert in a cute little bikini top and Daisy Dukes. She's in a wheelchair. She's moving on quickly.
Yeah.
Her mother takes her to apply for a temporary driver's license after the accident, and her mother, Natalie, signs off on the fact that she did not have any condition that results in episodic impairment of consciousness or loss of muscular control. She further attested that she does not have a physical or mental condition that prevents her from exercising reasonable and ordinary control of a motor vehicle.
Seems a little bit different from what Kinsey was saying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, it's true. Like if you have epilepsy, you can't drive your car because you never know when you're going to have a seizure, right?
Sure, yeah.
But these are the exact same boxes her mother checked when Mackenzie got her first driver's license. On Halloween, just 3 months after the crash, she's making a TikTok in a hotel room with friends, and they're all dressed up like what looks like corpses. They're dressed like the artist Playboy Cardi, whose vibe is an avant-garde gothic punk aesthetic that blends dark supernatural motifs with high-end designer pieces and vintage elements. She's at the Halloween party at Ohio University, honey.
Oh, man. Thanks a lot, Kenzie.
Is that a big party? Isn't that like a big deal at Ohio University, the Halloween party?
Listen, my freshman year, okay, in the fall and Halloween, Ohio University has a reputation for being a big party school. And I remember walking up Jeff Hill to go to Main Street that night. I rounded the corner, and the first thing that met me was some guy dressed as a huge giant tampon.
Well, there you have it.
So there you go. That was my introduction to Ohio University's
Hello, Ohio University.
Who I still love OU.
Yes, you do.
OU Bobcats.
But she's at this Halloween party at OU, and she's having a big time, just lots of fun. This is 3 months after the accident. Again, she's posting on social media, and it's completely inappropriate because the Russo family and the Flanagan family are deep into their own grief. And the police keep telling these families, we're working on it. But it had to be frustrating for them.
Yeah.
And they have been working on it, just like I said. They've pulled all of Mackenzie's social media. They've got the black box information, the Life 360 that shows how fast she was going, the crime scene reenactment guy who's going to say what the car's computer had on it. They know that she never took her foot off the gas all the way into the building. And they have witnesses who have said, like Hitched, that she would, quote, wreck this car, end quote. Not to mention they have information that 3 days before the crash, Mackenzie was at the crash site.
Yeah.
She's doing a dry run. So before the medical examiner's report said that the cause of death for Dom and Davion was accidental, it's now been changed to homicide. Just a few days after Halloween and all of her social media posts, Mackenzie is on her way back home with her mother from physical therapy. They are pulled over by a brigade of police officers, maybe 10 cars.
Wow.
So much so that Steve, her father, said it was all a big show. Well, maybe. Or maybe it was a little bit of satisfaction that they had enough evidence for the DA to bring charges, which were aggravated murder, felonious assault, aggravated vehicular homicide, drug possession, and possessing criminal tools. Now, her birthday was not too long after the crash, and she turned 18, but she was 17 when the crash happened, and the DA wants to prosecute her as an adult. Her bond is set at $500,000, and her family posted the bond, allowing her to be out of jail while she's awaiting trial. She's arraigned on April 13th, 2023, where she pleaded
not guilty. Yeah.
Her defense attorney is out of Cleveland, and he's a highly experienced criminal defense attorney with a really big, strong reputation in complex and high-profile cases. Now, the case is brought before a grand jury to decide if Mackenzie should be tried as an adult or as a juvenile. And after the evidence is shown, the grand jury returned a 12-count indictment charging Mackenzie with 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, drug possession, and possession of criminal tools.
Wow.
She would be tried as an adult, and now Mackenzie Shirilla could face life in prison.
Jeez.
Mackenzie waived her right to a jury trial. And you can only imagine why.
Yeah.
Because they're going to show all of this stuff. And if they showed even, what was in some of these documentaries, the jury would be like, guilty.
Yeah, slam dunk.
Yeah. So she elects to have a bench trial before Cuyahoga Judge Margaret Russo, who has no relation to Dominic Russo, okay?
Okay.
They couldn't be related because judicial ethics rules would have required recusal if any relation existed.
Sure.
Now, during this bench trial, prosecutors presented crash reconstruction evidence, surveillance footage, event data recorder information, social media evidence, and testimony from family members and investigators. It was a literal parade of evidence.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Officer Galassi, who was first on the scene, explained in detail the carnage of the crash and that he believed when he got there they were all dead. When they discovered Mackenzie was alive, they extracted her from the car, and one of the first things she said was, "How is Davion?" They go through all the stuff in the car, they found in the car, the mushrooms, the pot, the digital scale, the bong. The prosecution played the body cam footage of Officer Brent Robinson, who could only go a top speed of 54 miles per hour with his lights and sirens blaring. That was as fast as he could drive safely down the exact same road that she drove nearly 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
Then Brett Stanislaw, who is a firefighter and paramedic and captain of the Berea Fire Department, testified that when Mackenzie was taken out of the car, she was conscious, but her verbal responses were delayed. She was confused, but her, quote, pulse, motor, and sensation in her 4 extremities, end quote, were normal, which he said ruled out a stroke, seizure, or other significant neurological emergency. A few more officers testified who were at the scene that morning, but then Christopher Martin took the stand. Hitched, who told of the incident in July of 2022 before the crash. He told his story of Dom calling his mother and telling him to get him out of Mackenzie's car, and this is exactly where he heard the Mackenzie yelling, "I'm going to wreck this car right now."
Yeah.
Dom's mother took the stand to say that 6 months before the crash, she saw that the relationship between Mackenzie and Dom was strained. They were fighting, arguing. They were breaking up. There was lots of threats. She tells the court about a day in August or September where she and Mackenzie were at Dom's grave together. And Christine asked Mackenzie, "Why didn't you guys ask for a ride on the day of the crash?" To which Mackenzie replied, quote, "We were not fucked up," end quote.
Jeez.
So she's admitting it herself. She was fine to drive, right?
Yeah.
Mackenzie also texted Christine after the crash saying, quote, "I remember turning onto the street and then my vision fades to black. It really kills me not to be able to remember anything. I promise you I would tell you. I've been asking my therapist why I don't remember, and she said it's because of trauma. I'm going to try to get myself hypnotized and make myself remember," end quote.
Okay.
Dom's mother also explained the videos that she turned over to the police where Mackenzie's outside Dom's house in July and Dom's recording the conversation with his friend William Ellis's phone. The whole, "I'm going to, break in, I'm going to key your car," that whole thing.
She was unhinged.
Right. Paul Burlinghouse, who was the 19-year-old where the party was the night of the crash, he takes a stand saying that they left his house at 5:30 in the morning just before the crash, saying that he didn't smoke weed that night and he didn't think Mackenzie did either. He said no one drank alcohol or used other drugs. Paul says he went to sleep at midnight, woke up around 3 or 4. Mackenzie was asleep on the couch while Davion was watching TV with another friend, but he didn't see Dom. Now the other kids have said they were smoking pot that night, but that Mackenzie was not. Remember, she'd been coughing up black stuff.
Right.
But she did want to trip on mushrooms, but it was too late. Then Tyler Croy took the stand to explain that he and Davion were connected on Life 360 and that he provided that information to the police showing how fast the car Davion was in was going, 90 miles per hour. The girl from the first party, Dom, Davion, and Mackenzie attended that night, Kelly's house, she testified that the three of them brought a bottle of tequila and a weed pen, saying they were debating on, quote, tripping that night, end quote. But she didn't see them drinking or doing drugs before they left the house. Angelo, Dom's brother, was the witness who said that Dom and Mackenzie had broken up so many times, and Dom was going to end the relationship for good. Adam McQuaid took the stand. He gave his analysis of the data recorder, saying the accelerator pedal was fully depressed 4.6 seconds before the crash. The DA had the BMV records pulled, and an investigator with the Ohio BMV Investigations Section showed that after the accident, Mackenzie applied for a temporary license and attested that she had no physical or mental impairments. The DA had experts to say the car did not malfunction in any way. The brakes were just never applied before the crash. The medical examiner took the stand to say that Davion died from lethal injuries to his trunk and abdomen. Dom died from blunt force trauma to the head. They showed the photographs in the courtroom. The toxicology results showed that they both had used marijuana before their deaths. And Dr. Joseph Filo stated that at first, their deaths were ruled an accident, but after the Strongsville police report and reconsideration of the transcripts of cell phones and photos and videos and interviews, he amended the autopsy report to homicide because the investigation revealed, quote, the driver's intention of inflicting self-harm and harm unto passengers in her vehicle, end quote.
Wow.
Now, the lead detective was a guy named Zaki Hazow. He's really a champion in this case. He tracked down so much, all the social media posts, the over 100 posts of her driving and smoking weed at the same time. There are 100 videos of her smoking weed and driving at the same time.
Jeez.
Even if she was high that night, which she wasn't, she was very used to operating a car while being under the influence.
Yeah.
And of course, the defense called their witnesses people who would say that Mackenzie and Dom were very much in love. Then Natalie Mackenzie's mom took the stand to say that she never heard her daughter express suicidal thoughts and that she'd seen her daughter suffer from POTS at least twice. She says Kinsey was diagnosed in 2017 at the Cleveland Clinic. They prescribed salt tablets. Natalie testified that Kinsey had experienced a POTS episode a week or two before the crash and reported that, quote, it was really bad and it hadn't been that bad in a long time and she was scared it was going to get worse, end quote. Then Natalie admitted on redirect that she did not take Mackenzie to a doctor or limit her driving privileges after this. And they go after the fact that if she suffered from POTS and could pass out, why did you sign off on Mackenzie's driver's license? Not once, but twice.
Right. Well, the fact, too, I have to interject here. The fact that, 2 weeks before this, when she said she had this attack?
Yes.
So this, and how many days was it before the crash did she visit that site?
3.
3 days. So she was planning this. So how convenient would it be to say, I'm having these attacks, even if she didn't?
Yeah. I don't think she did. I think that was just part of what they were making up as their story.
Yeah.
But what about the threatening of suicide? Natalie says she never threatened suicide.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
That 2020 episode where the police were called to the Shirilla home because 15-year-old Mackenzie had threatened to kill herself.
Yeah.
In closing arguments, her defense attorney said that the state just didn't meet the burden of proof. And in the prosecution's closing argument, they showed all the videos and social media posts of Mackenzie, some from before the crash, some from after. But the one they focused on was a TikTok where she's pantomiming the words, which are, got a figure like a pinup, got a figure like a doll, don't care if you think I'm dumb, I don't care at all, candy bear, sweetie pie, wanna be adored, I'm the girl you'd die for. This is a Marina and the Diamonds song, and it was a TikTok trend from 2021. This is a year before the crash, but I have to say, it was very powerful in the courtroom when they played it.
I'm sure.
Judge Russo comes back and comments on the crash video, saying it clearly shows the purpose and intent of the defendant to cause death. She noted that Mackenzie Shirilla, quote, made the decision to drive a car, to drive an obscure route, a route she visited a few days before, and a route not routinely taken by her, end quote. She said that Mackenzie chose to drive early in the morning when few people would be around to witness the accident or provide help. It concluded that she intentionally pressed the pedal to the floor, taking the car to nearly 100 miles per hour and aiming the car at the brick wall. The court stated that it could only be speculated whether she intended to kill herself, but it concluded beyond a reasonable doubt that Mackenzie Shirilla acted purposefully and intentionally to kill Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. Her actions were, quote, controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful, end quote. The judge called her hell on wheels.
Wow.
Now, Mackenzie is shocked. She can't believe it. She thought she was going to get off. And this is just mind-boggling to me, how she would ever believe, with all the evidence stacked against her, that she wasn't going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, at the sentencing, the judge listened to victim impact statements, and the Russos gave very heartfelt statements. Davion's parents, the Flanagans, even his little sister, gave just a heart-wrenching statement. But it is so cringy to watch Natalie Shirilla speak, because it's all about Mackenzie and not how awful she feels for the families of the 2 boys her daughter murdered.
Your Honor, this was a terrible, tragic nightmare accident to have happened that she has no memory of, and she will never emotionally or physically recover from it.
I'm hearing an awful lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing very much about the 2 dead people.
Dominic, okay, I'm asking you for leniency because this was a tragic accident that she does not remember. And Davion, he's a new friend, and I'm so sorry.
What does that mean? His life is worthless?
No. God, no, not at all. I understand what it looks like. I'm saying that it was a tragic accident. She would never.
Well, we're going to have to disagree on that.
I understand.
Right.
That's all.
And Judge Russo calls her out on the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, Judge Russo said it was a horrible, terrifying, and tragic and a result of a selfish, intentional, and cruel decision by Mackenzie. But the mother is like, I'm asking for leniency. And it was Mackenzie this, Mackenzie that. And the judge cuts her off and says, I haven't heard you say one word about the victims. Mackenzie Shirilla was sentenced to serve an indefinite sentence of 15 years to life in prison on each of the murder counts. The court ordered all the sentences to be served concurrently with each other, so side by side. So guilty on 12 felonies, 4 murder, 4 felonious assault, 2 aggravated vehicular homicide, drug and criminal tools. Again, when she's sentenced, Mackenzie is shocked. Now, what people are talking about now, because, it's 2026, and this happened in 2022.
Right.
And A&E had done a couple of different documentaries on this, but Netflix put out something just last month in May of 2026. And now what people are really talking about are the jailhouse conversations between Mackenzie and her mother.
Oh, really?
And the blindness of both of her parents that Mackenzie has done anything wrong at all. They are all so blind to the consequences of Mackenzie's actions. And I don't think she cares one little bit. Natalie tells Mackenzie that the story was on the Today Show and that it was in the Daily Mail in England. And these two are celebrating over the phone.
Kenzie, it's on the Today Show.
What?
Girl, I'm telling you, they're about to get ready for the biggest fucking plot twist of the century. Right?
What? What did they say about me?
No, it's not on the TV. It's just online, and they're just reposting the story, but that's okay. That's okay, right? That's all right. Plot twist, bitch. Right? That's okay. Write your book. Start writing your book. You hear what I'm saying?
I need my baby book to write my book, though.
I know. Well, maybe I can
I'll start it, though.
You start writing your book.
Wow.
Later, Mackenzie is going to be so happy when older men in their 40s and 50s want to write to her and give her money for the commissary. This is not a lie. Yeah. Mackenzie Shirilla is going to appeal. She's going to lose. Mackenzie is taken to the Ohio Reformatory for Women, where she is inmate W111780. Now, in the beginning, she's pretty compliant, but from May of 2024 forward, she's had more than 36 conduct reports where she's found guilty on most. They're for contraband, out of place, disobeying, sexual misconduct, exposing herself during visits. I read through all of these, and I will post the website where you can read them too. But she's just defiant. I mean, a lot of the stuff is that she alters her jail clothes because she wants them tighter or something. She's been described as demanding, and there's been more than one of her inmates come forward to talk about her. Why? Well, 1, she's a horrible person, and 2, Netflix did this documentary on the case called The Crash, and it stirred everything up again.
Right.
There are 2 other true crime docs about this one. One is called The Mean Girl Murders Under the Influence and Killer Cases Murder on Wheels. But the Netflix documentary has something no one else has, including the DA. And that's an interview with Mackenzie's bestie, Rosie Graham. And Rosie is taking some heat for this. People are saying you wouldn't speak to the authorities when the crash happened, but you would go on camera for a Netflix special.
Yeah, how much did you get paid for that?
Well, she has issued a statement via her social media since that says, quote, I know a lot of people have questions, so I just want to clear a few things up respectfully. Prior to the trial, I did speak with the prosecution, answered every question I was asked, and made it clear that I was willing to testify and cooperate in any way needed. I also want to address the inclusion of my social media in the documentary. I never wanted followers, views, or personal attention connected to such a serious situation, and I specifically expressed to the directors that I did not want that aspect included. My interview lasted over 8 hours, and I had no control over what portions would ultimately make the final cut. At no point was my intention to pick sides, defend anyone, or make light of the seriousness of the case. I was simply answering the questions I was asked based on my own experiences, knowledge, and what I personally witnessed. These are 2 examples of what I feel is the documentary pushing a narrative without providing my full explanations. End quote. But the DA says in that very same Netflix documentary that she refused to speak with him. So who's telling the truth here?
Right.
And honestly, she seemed to be her best friend. So if she really did know Mackenzie, did she know that Mackenzie had murder-suicide on the brain, right?
Right.
And then Netflix also interviewed Mackenzie herself, her parents, the parents and siblings of Dom and Davion. But here's what Mackenzie had to say. She comes in, she parades in a green jumpsuit or whatever. She's got her hair piled up on top of her head. She's got makeup on, the whole 9 yards. And she sort of has a little bit of a smirk on her face. Quote, I feel like anybody's social media isn't really them. It's how they want the world to see them. Well, I got news for everybody right now. This is really me and Ron.
Yeah.
This is really us.
And Scotty.
And Scotty. She continues, and at the time, that's how my 17-year-old brain was wanting to be seen. It's really hard every day in here. I try to wake up and be the best person I can be every day, stay out of trouble. There's not a moment that doesn't pass where I don't think about them or I don't feel the pain in my chest, that it's still like a void of losing them. And she kind of fades off. And the producer says, any last word you'd like to say? And she looks to her attorney, who's off camera and on her right, and says, quote, did I touch on that? The right? Okay. So everything is like, you think? I don't want to force anything and just say too much or sound crazy. I just want to make sure that I'm big on the no intent. And then she turns back to the camera and says, there was no intent whatsoever there. I have excessive amounts of remorse for Dominic, Davion, both of their families. This was not intentional, and I will do everything I can to prove to the world and the families. And that's it. End quote.
She sounds like a phony all the way.
So Mackenzie's had a few girlfriends in the Women's Correctional Institute. I do think she's heterosexual, but, you know, there's that thing, gay for the stay. So
Yeah.
Mackenzie's girlfriend, Cheyenne Topping, and another girl, Kat Crowder. I really like this Kat Crowder chick, who's telling her story about Mackenzie. They both claim that she has zero remorse. They were with her in prison. She has zero remorse, and she liked that she was called, quote, Shirilla the Killa, end quote.
Jeez.
According to Kat Crowder, she has a scrapbook about the crash, a picture of a brick wall that says, boom. She has said to her mother on the phone, of course, of all of these are taped conversations, that she doesn't need to be rehabilitated. There's nothing wrong with her. I read that she allegedly told someone inside the prison walls that the devil put her gas pedal to the floor. He made her do it. And that Dom had to die. Now, her parents are trying to do damage control at the moment. Her dad's gone on podcasts and shows recently, but these people don't ever seem to help themselves out. He also lost his job as a teacher in a Catholic school after the Netflix documentary dropped in May of 2026. Now, there's a lot of talk about her text messages with her dad, because we have thousands and thousands of these, where she asks him to come and rub her feet. And she also has multiple text messages to her dad where she's asking for warm milk. And people are trying to read into that one. I'm going to stay way far away from that.
Yeah.
I will say that her parents have been a disservice to her whole life by allowing her to act however, say whatever, do whatever she wants. Because it seems in prison, she still can't grasp that actions have consequences.
Yeah.
Now, again, her direct appeal was denied, and her post-conviction efforts, including a 2026 filing, has also been largely rejected, mostly because they missed the date. They were 1 day late due to leap year.
Really? Oh, wow.
But her Ohio Supreme Court petition is still pending as of right now, June 2026.
Okay.
What I want to know is, why did Dom stay with her for so long?
Yeah.
Was she holding something over his head? Did she know something? Again, he'd never had a run-in with the police for anything, but they did smoke a lot of pot and they did have access to a lot of mushrooms. So was she threatening to turn him in or something? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But they are young, so I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about Dominic at all.
Sure.
Before we go, I want to tell you about Dom and Davion's law petition on change.org. It was launched in late May of 2026 by Christine Russo, Dominic Russo's sister, in collaboration with the Flanagan family and the national victim advocacy nonprofit Silver Lining of Hope. The Netflix documentary The Crash brought renewed attention to the case and directly fueled the push for this, as the families wanted to prevent offenders from turning notoriety into profit.
Sure.
And I will tell you, in these jailhouse conversations between Mackenzie and her mother Natalie just keeps saying, write your book, write your book, write your book. She doesn't know the difference between there, and there.
Yeah.
Good luck writing the book.
Yeah.
But the law aims to update Ohio's outdated Son of Sam laws. And those are originally from the 1970s, and they were put there so criminals like David Berkowitz couldn't profit off of books or movies about his crime.
Right.
But it's not in place for social media and the influence era. And it focuses on stopping convicted violent offenders from monetizing their crimes through digital platforms. It was launched on change.org in late May. It rapidly gained traction, surpassing like 140,000 signatures within days. No bill has been formally introduced under this exact name yet, but momentum is strong, and it's building on prior efforts like HB 505. And the first and main hurdle is the First Amendment.
Right.
There are concerns. Any law must be narrowly tailored to survive constitutional scrutiny. And supporters emphasize it targets profits from notoriety, not speech itself.
Right.
I will provide a link in the show notes if you want to go and lend your support to these families. And I will also provide a link to the GoFundMe page for the Davion Flanagan Memorial Scholarship Fund for low-income students pursuing barber school. The family has already awarded the first scholarship.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, these families are trying to turn their grief into something positive for others, something which Mackenzie Shirilla seems to know nothing about. But that is the story of Mackenzie Shirilla. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right, you want to know my take on all this?
Oh, it's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot to take in.
Well, it's sad, it's tragic, it's evil, and how a young person can become so inundated with hate and meanness, and it's just amazing to me.
I think if she could really get some help, and work on herself, which she already says she doesn't need to be rehabilitated, right?
There's the point. I mean, you've got to want to get better.
You have to want to get better, but if they could peel back some of those layers, because to me, it seems like her parents don't care at all.
Yeah.
And again, parenting is hard. I've seen him do some interviews where he's just basically like, we did the best we could, and you can come at us and be mad about the way we parented our child, but, we did what we thought was right, and okay. But that was look at the result of that.
Yeah.
And she's alive.
Yeah.
And if she gets out in 15 years, if she makes parole in 15 years, I don't think she will, because these families are going to show up all the time to make sure that she doesn't make parole.
Yeah.
She's just stuck there, but she does have a life. And Dom and Davion had dreams, and she took those from them.
Yeah. Well, it's sad.
It's very sad. Very sad.
Okay, well, let's move away from that and just go to a little bless your heart.
Well, bless your heart.
All right, number one. I like to air dry. In a bizarre game of hide and seek, a Florida man wanted for multiple felonies was found folded inside a dryer by Escambia County deputies.
What?
The man, described as looking, quote, guilty, embarrassed, and warm, was pulled out one limb at a time, along with dryer sheets, mismatched socks, and a wrinkled Star Wars t-shirt.
How flexible is this guy?
The felon, who previously served 7 years for various crimes, was taken to jail on a $120,000 bond.
Wow.
Yeah. While sheriff's office had fun with the quirky arrest, they reminded everyone, the charges remained allegations, free of static cling, of course.
I just want to know how he folded himself up and got in there.
Who knows? All right, number 2, making lemons out of lemonade.
Making lemons out of... Oh, wait a minute. You said I air dry. Are you talking Jerry Maguire?
Great word. Tell? No, I air dry.
Yes.
Where he gives his wisdom and he goes, towel? He goes, no, I air dry.
I air dry, yeah.
Sorry, I had to get that in.
Yeah. Okay, at a bowling alley, a guy climbed up into the ceiling in the restroom and waited until it was closed so he could climb down and rob it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say so he could climb down and bowl.
Not only did he not get any money, everything was locked up in a gigantic safe from the 1930s that probably weighed over 1,000 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he couldn't even get out of the building. All the steel fire doors were padlocked on the outside. And I guess he didn't want to risk being seen smashing the glass on the front doors since it was right by a busy road. He did the only logical thing he could, which was go back to the bar and drink all night.
Well, I thought you were going to say, climb back up into the ceiling.
No, he went to the bar and just the manager found him passed out on the floor when he opened up in the morning.
Was he wearing bowling shoes?
No, but the police were called and he was arrested. Okay, number 3, and finally, read my lips.
Yes.
All right. One night a guy came in and tried to rob a pharmacy.
Okay.
Now, the only problem was that the pharmacist was Vietnamese and didn't understand English very well and had limited English language skills.
Okay.
Yeah. The man had his hand in his jacket and he told the technician he wanted all of the OxyContin. All right?
Okay.
I'll call it Oxy for a minute. The technician said he had to have a prescription. Mm-hmm. The robber got irritated and cussed and yelled he wanted all of the Oxy pills right now and that this was no joke. He was robbing the store. The tech, now remember, he doesn't understand English that well, somehow not aware, continued to explain that Oxy is a Schedule II medication, and the tech said he could fax the robber's doctor for a refill request if the script was on file.
He said all of that, but he doesn't have a grasp of the English language? That was pretty good.
I'm sure it wasn't that clear. Well, after a while, the robber, he got so frustrated, he just quit and walked away.
He was going to have to go to another pharmacy.
Yeah, exactly.
And try to rob him for Oxy.
Yep.
Bless his heart.
I know.
Bless both their hearts.
Yeah, well, there's all your stupid criminals this week.
Well, if you have a bless your heart or you know somebody's heart who needs blessing, all
Yep.
you got to do is go to hitchedtohomicide.com. When you get there, you'll find a pull-down menu, and while
Yep.
you're there, you can also suggest a case or tell us about your brush with true crime. That's my amazing husband out there.
And that's my beautiful bride in the booth.
Join us next time on Hitched to Homicide.
Bye, y'all.